Owning your own land, the American dream. But a transplant from the East Coast, owning land in Texas? Oh, hell yeah! Hold on, I need a do-over. This is more like it. I bought an abandoned ranch in Texas. Hold on, this needs to be like a beer commercial. Texas, owning a ranch, slow motion walking, drinking beer, the American dream. All right. Okay, I got that out of my system. So a little over a year ago, me and a buddy purchased a 13-acre abandoned ranch for $250,000. Now, that may seem like a lot, but its location is amazing. Just west of Fort Worth, so north central Texas, but on the outskirts of the DFW area. It's really a beautiful piece of property. Cross-fenced pastures, there's a wooded area, we're surrounded by a ravine. I mean, there's a lot of great things on this property. However, it was abandoned. So the property was just left a complete mess. There was a abandoned double wide, and when I say abandoned, they left everything in there, everything. So an abandoned double wide, a shed that was just, I don't even know if I should call it a shed. Walls were just completely down. So the plan is to make this abandoned ranch operational again. I have home improvement skills that will come into play for the double wide, but I'm from the East Coast. I know nothing about Texas ranching or even livestock. Zero. The property is broken down into basically 5 different sections. In the front, you have a section where the abandoned double wide and the blown out shed live. So walking up the driveway to the double wide, this is what the outside looked like on day one, complete with a mattress outside. And when you go around the back, you have this thing that was added by the previous owners. I don't call it an addition. It's more like a clubhouse that the Goonies built. I've been in the process of rebuilding this. And this is what it looks like now. I know it looks worse, and it absolutely is worse. I think someone once said you have to make things worse before you make them better. I think Han Solo said that. Let's go inside for a quick peek. This was day one, and they left all sorts of stuff behind. Couches, furniture, books, clothes, and lots of junk. Filled with rodent droppings, rotted floors with holes in it, boarded up windows, vents covered in dust. I can't explain the way the carpets were left and the smell. First priority was getting the couch out of the place with a chainsaw. The now is at least I've taken down a lot of the drywall. I ripped out all the carpets. I also cut out, so far, most of the rotted subfloor, and this is where I found a graveyard, cleaning up dead rat carcasses and droppings. And oh yeah, pulling out snake skins. This is unbelievable. And by the way, I hate rats and snakes. The Goonies clubhouse, which was the addition to the back, was worse than the front, hence the sign they had on the door. Poorly built, junk left behind, along with rot and mold from all the water damage. I ended up tearing it down, and all that's left is the decking, which will eventually come out. You guys are probably saying to yourselves, what a mess that you're making. I am making a mess. But you know what? It's a necessary mess to fix the crap that was here before. So here's the shed here. I think you have to show it besides describing it. Completely just blown out. There was a pool, not using it of course, mess, but just crap left in there. This place was just left abandoned, just left to die. So sad, and so much stuff was left behind. It's insane, just so crazy to me. Adjacent to the double wide and shed in front is a small cross-fenced wooded pasture area. This takes me to one of the biggest things I've done so far at the ranch, and that was getting an agricultural exemption. I really had to think about what am I going to do to keep that. People were telling me, get bees. Bees are super easy. This is what I can tell you about bees and all the research that I did. Bees aren't as easy as everyone thinks. I am no beekeeper. The closest I've gotten to bees is when I was a little kid mowing the lawn and I ran over a yellow jacket's nest and I got stung like 100 times and went running into my mom, taking off my socks, and bees were still stinging me. That night, my stepdad, in my defense, poured gasoline into the yellow jacket hole and then went to my bedroom window and shot at it and blew it up. That was awesome. Anyway, I had my buddy who used to be a cattle farmer, he's now a horse farmer. He looked at the land and he was like, you know what? Cows. I was like, cows? He was like, yeah, cows. I ended up getting these cows over here. Ladies, ladies, ladies. So that's the family, me and the ladies. That's Mona. Mona's the meanest one out of all of them. And then that's Brenda. And then that is little Bessie. She was born on this land, which was awesome. And then back here, right there, peeking out, that's Bessie. Bessie's, yeah, Bessie's the nicest one. She's awesome. Now, Mona is the biggest one. She is very protective. You would think she's the mom of little Bessie because she is so protective of her. It is insane. Bessie, you know I'm talking about, yeah. Bessie's the best. So I've had them now for 8 months now, and what a difference in the pastures already, just from the fertilizer. I mean, we're talking circle of life here. If you would have told me 2 years ago, even a year and a half ago, I was gonna have cows, I would have been like, what are you drinking? And can I have some? So the back section of the property is fantastic. So this is the top pasture right behind the double wide. And this is where I can really keep an eye on the cattle. I do have a stock tank over here. And that stock tank is split between this back pasture and the front pasture, which is where the double wide is. So the one thing that I do not like about this property, besides the double wide being a mess, is you get a ton of these and they hurt. Little burrs. They get everywhere. You go home with them. All of a sudden they're in your underwear. Not fun or funny. So here's the back pasture, the first one over here, and then I'm in this one here. This is the second one. So that's a cool texture of the land back here. Just from the rain runoff, makes like these little, like, I don't know what to call them, caverns? I don't know, pretty cool though. And that's like the ravine back there too. And then walking over here is this wooded area. Now this wooded area I'm walking to now is, oh my God, I just love this piece of the property. Here is a temporary electric fence as you enter the woods. Now, obviously I put this up here for the cows who are going nuts over here. So the reason why they're mooing like crazy is because that fence line there is the neighbors and they have longhorns. And I bet they are in mating season. Could be having some problems. So here is a temporary electric fence that I put up, obviously for the cows, and that's to keep them out of the woods. Not because I don't want them in the woods, it's because all the way in the back of the property is a fence that's all broken down and it drops down into a ravine. And if they were to go down there, they would never get back up. So this is just up here temporarily until eventually I can go back there and fix that fence. So as you enter the wooded area, it is surrounded by a great trail. It actually gets like 10 degrees cooler when you come back into this wooded area. Whew, hot day today. So this is awesome back here, obviously. I mean, the trail goes all the way around to the other side. And I ride the ATV through here all the time. It is so, so cool. And if you listen, I mean, I don't know if you can hear it. I don't want to get too close. But you can see, I mean, just loaded with bees. So you can hear it like 50 yards away, just walking down. Can you imagine the honey that's in this thing? And you can see too, it's like, it hangs off, and this is the ravine I was telling you about. It goes all around the property line in the back here. I told you my story about bees, so that's as far as I'm going. So the other thing, after Bee Town there, you have here, previous owners made a makeshift shooting range, which is pretty cool. What he did is he took like a ton of tires and just threw a bunch of tires in a big pile here and then just covered it with dirt. And then he has the different stuff to shoot. Old hot water heater, some tires. Got to get out the 22. So after the shoot, ow, man, there's like spider webs freaking me out. So many tracks back here. I set up a couple of trail cams. And here's one of those trail cams now. So they've been catching things like tons of deer, raccoons, coyotes, even a cool guy on an ATV. Just a good old boy. So if you go off of the path that goes all the way around, there's these trails that go to like the center. So you get in the middle here and it's very cool because you can do camping in here, campfires. I mean, put even a tiny home. I mean, this is when you start really thinking about things. So back on the main path. So this is the far corner of the wooded area. And you can see, this is what I was saying before about the cows. There's a fence here, not a very good one, but it's like all busted down, all the way down this end. And this would be the drop So all the way down, there's this really deep ravine. So I'm gonna show you something very interesting once we get out at the other end of the wooded area, because there are game trails here. There are more things than what those game trail cams have captured. I'm being very careful where I'm stepping here and looking. I saw my first copperhead of the summer a couple weeks ago, and I almost stepped on the damn thing. Okay, so this is where it comes out at the end of the property. You can see the end of the temporary electric fence that I put up. So this is what I wanted to show you. The previous owner had a hog trap. In that ravine, I can imagine hogs running through there. So he was feeding them because right over here, it is a deer feeder, but I think he was using it for hogs. Probably filling it with corn, probably using some of it for hogs, the other half maybe for making some moonshine. So lastly, as I kind of end the tour here, is to have fun. And what me and my buddy did is, we put this shed, just recently we had this shed put in. It's completely unfinished inside. Eventually we'll finish it, but for now, this is a great place to hang out. You can watch the sunrise here at night after a long day of work, crack open a couple of beers, listen to some music, have a campfire going. This is a beautiful spot. It's probably the best spot on the land just to be able to hang out someplace. So that's the tour of my abandoned ranch, what I've done so far within a year. So much more to plan out. I mean, I have to revive this place, and I hope that you're in for the ride. There's going to be a lot of mistakes made, but hopefully fun along the way. I'll use some of my home improvement skills, hopefully some new Texas ranching skills that I'm gonna learn from some friends. Also, some redneck ingenuity sprinkled in there. It's gonna be a ride. Let's do this.